The story of the Great Nile River, the origin of all things. As life began from the amorphous Nun water, the Nile River is an important source of life in daily life. For this person, the Nile River is a source of water to quench thirst. When Tefnut left Egypt and left the country starved of rain, the Nile River protected the people from the disaster of running out of water. To the other, the Nile is the home of fish. Some species were considered sacred fish, and there was even a fish goddess, Hatmihit, worshipped in the delta. And because a fish ate the 14th piece of Usir, a fish that many people consider to be evil, some people were afraid to eat it and sometimes ate that same piece of body. That and number 39. Why priests never eat fish, and rich people see them just as pretty fish tank decorations. But fortunately, fish are a major source of food, because even the poorest people can fish, and the nutritional value of Nile fish, such as tilapia, is endless. Is very high. Fishermen use hooks often made from clamshells attached to a string. The art of making fish hooks may have originated in Egypt. Fishermen can also ask for help from cormorants or similar birds, as in China, Japan, Macedonia. They put a noose around the bird and number 39's neck, then let it go free. When the bird finds small fish, it can swallow them. But when he caught a big fish, he was forced to give it back to the fisherman to repay the favor. The fisherman will take the fish from the bird and number 39's throat and reward it with a fish small enough for it to swallow. The Nile River plays an extremely important role in agriculture. The seasons that Ra governs mark the different agricultural periods of. One is the flood season. Water overflows the banks, inundating the land between June or July and September or October. When the flood subsides, the water leaves behind a layer of sediment that makes the land fertile and loose for farming. Next comes the growing season. Farmers grow beans and grapes. They grew barley and wheat to make bread. Then they kneaded stale bread in water to make beer, their most popular drink, which Hut Heru encouraged them to use to drown their sorrows, so they could enjoy music and dancing. The reason for all that is thanks to the small canals that farmers dug from the now calm Nile River, and used them to irrigate the fields. Finally came the harvest season, when abundant food was easily transported up and down the Nile. The Nile, the Nile, the Nile every season. Set and #39's tears when Set nailed Usir to the carved ark caused the first flood. Usir watched the cycle in which these tears flowed and decided to give humans the first annual gift, the resurrection of the land to commemorate the rebirth of the god. The Nile also played a role in hunting. Floodwaters filled the lowlands, and when the tide receded, those puddles were separated from the river. From there came the inland water tanks. They become watering holes for land animals, such as antelopes, deer, and ostriches. They create migratory areas for birds. Birds nest on the islands in between. Hunters set up reed curtains for incoming thirsty animals, then took them down with spears, lassos, and boomerangs that Heru Sa-A-Set taught them how to make. Hunters also caught birds in those floodwaters: grebes, ducks, geese. Sometimes the tanks were so full of fish that people could grab small fish with their hands, a quick meal. Another product of the flood was the formation of clay. God Khnum created a potter and number 39's wheel and shaped people from clay. When the gods showed people how to make those spinning wheels, they made household ceramics and vases for use in temples. Clay is used to bind the stones of step pyramids. Ceramic pots are often shrunken or even pointed at the top and are held upright by pressing deep into the soil or sand to make a container. Houses are built of sun-dried bricks, but the walls are often plastered so they can be painted. Draw. The first layer of mortar was plastered with Nile clay. Sometimes people apply a second layer of plaster. The tombs of the pharaohs and the temples of the gods were made splendid and magnificent thanks to clay. Nile clay can be used in all of these ways because it contains lime, a natural binder. It was also known for its elasticity, allowing potters to make pots of all shapes and sizes, which were traded along the Nile and beyond. The Nile also provided two of the most iconic Egypt and number 39's most important symbols: the water lily for Upper Egypt and the papyrus for Lower Egypt. Aset loves this flower because of its fragrance. And Usir liked that reed because of its strength. It was perfection that their son Haru-Sa-A-Set was born in the delta, shaped like a water lily and strong as a reed. Aset and Hut-Haru taught people to enjoy the fragrance of lotus and oils. Hut-Haru and the snake goddess Wadjet taught them about the versatility of papyrus. People weave mats, weave baskets, braid sandals, and weave blankets with rush fibers. They braided ropes from papyrus to use on beds and as ropes for animals. They burned papyrus for cooking and heating, and used its ashes to treat sore mouths, swollen eyes, and skin rashes. They eat the lower parts of the plant raw or grilled. They made paper and, with Tahuti and #39's instructions, they wrote stories on papyrus scrolls that they kept in chests. To help with trade, they built boats. Egypt had few trees, so these reed boats made river transport inexpensive. Going north, light boats glided along the stream, aided by oars and poles here and there. Going south, the sail, usually made of reeds, of course, catches the wind from the Mediterranean, and so the boat glides, even against the current. The Nile is teeming with hippopotamuses and crocodiles, ruled by the goddess Taweret and the male god Sobek. It is a sacred place and should be respected. When Usir became the ruler of the underworld, he ordered the goddess Setet, wife of the god Khnum, to wash the bodies with the water of the Nile River. So it is not surprising that the ancients built temples to the Nile River in Eneb-Hej, Memphis, Iunu, Heliopolis, and Delos, Nilopolis. It was as if the river itself was a god. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.